That flight was from Amsterdam to Portland 2 weeks ago. One person on the plane was diagnosed with the measles shortly after landing, and now Oregon health officials say there are 2 more cases from that same flight. Take a look at where they went. One of them is a Lane County resident. Another person was visiting Washington County, and they visited a number of places while contagious. Now health officials worry a lot of people were exposed. Take a look at a list of locations where the infected people went. By the way, you can find all this information in detail on our website. The dates of exposure range from October 20th through the 23rd, and the times vary depending on location. Here they are. In Washington County, Wu's Open Kitchen on Southwest Pacific Highway, to Lejour's and the Starbucks inside Target on Southwest Beaverton Hillsdale Highway, as well as the Costco on Heather Place, where a manager told me tonight that employees are being warned about the measles. The Clackamas County Trader Joe's is also on the list, and in Lane County, health officials say the exposures might have happened at Blue Mist on Valley River Drive or North Fork Public House on Shadowview. And something important to consider is that people are contagious even before they show signs of a rash, which is usually associated with the measles. Symptoms can include a fever. They can also include common cold-like symptoms. But the bottom line is that if you feel you've been exposed at some of the locations that we mentioned, stay at home and call your doctor first before going in, because that will limit the risk of exposing other people to the disease.
We have a pretty well-defined 2 hours that the measles can linger in the air or stay on surfaces like that. So that can be really tricky.
And you might be wondering, what about all those people who were initially on the plane with that infected person? Well, Oregon health officials say because of the 2 new cases, they're working on getting the names of all the people on that flight. Now, this is not the first time that we've dealt with a measles scare. Clark County had an outbreak earlier this year. It lasted nearly 4 months and spread to 71 cases in Clark County and many more beyond. 53 locations were identified as spots people were exposed. It spread so fast because a lot of people were not immunized.
Regardless of what's happening in the world, this could have been completely preventable in Clark County if we had higher vaccination rates here.
After the outbreak, Washington passed a law requiring people to get their shots. Oregon tried, but failed. The experts are still working to track down all of the places the infected people went. As soon as we find out any more locations, we'll pass that information on to you. Back to you.